Yemen, a country in the Middle East that borders Saudi Arabia, is in crisis as its war with the Saudis and their allies continues, triggering a famine and cry from aid organisations for help. The Yemen is in the middle of a civil war, where the capital has been taken by Houthis, while the old government, supported by Saudi Arabia, has retreated to the city of Aden. A Saudi-led coalition has been fighting on behalf of the displaced government in Aden, where it's been bombing with illegal arms as well as hitting hospitals and schools. The chaos has caused famine, with half the population without food. Destabilisation has led to ISIS activity in the country. The US is disgracefully aiding the Saudis and ISIS by refuelling Saudi jets and providing the Saudis with arms and equipment. The UK also provides the Saudis with arms that are illegal to use under international law, with Prime Minister recently visiting one of the Saudis' allies, Bahrain, to try and sell them more weapons. This shows the hypocrisy of Western governments. The excuse they use for supporting Saudi Arabia is that the legitimate government of Yemen has been overthrown and needs to be put back in power, an argument the Russians use in Syria when supporting Assad. However, the West condemns that. The lack of reporting on the issue and the continuous reporting on Syria shows the corporate media toes the line for big business and the government. Our democratically elected governments are supporting the Saudi royal family, who run a medieval state and export a death cult all over the world so they can keep power. Our leaders have blood on their hands, and by allowing the Saudis to do whatever they want, create the chance for hideous violence to take place on the streets of their own countries. Don't forget that 9/11 was funded by the Saudis, and ISIS are also funded by the Saudis. Oil and weapons sales are the real reason the UK and the US support the Saudis and let them do whatever they want. They provide us with the oil and buy our weapons and invest in our countries, so we protect them and allow them to spread their death cult so they keep power. The Saudis fight this war to keep power in the region under their influence, as the Iranians support the other side. As in Syria, we have a proxy war between two powers, with innocents caught in the middle and religious extremists created, as those powers use religion as an excuse in their power games. In this conflict, we can see the real reasons wars are fought. War's a racket. It's not about principles. We need oil, and our companies need to sell weapons, as well as Saudi investments and political campaign funding. This is the finance built into the system. Medieval regimes must be allowed to continue to commit crimes on their own people and around the world so we can get at their money and other resources. Our corporate media will cover by not promoting the story or muddying any report as their owners protect their business deals with the Saudis. The Queen will continue to be used as a decoration to legitimise them when they visit the UK, and our Prime Minister will continue to personally try and flog them weapons. What a fantastic use of taxpayers' money. The UK and the US need to stop supporting Saudi Arabia and introduce sanctions for its illegal use of weaponry. Weapons sales also need to stop to Saudi. Alternatives need to be found to reduce the West's dependency on the Saudis for oil. Saudi holdings in US and UK-based businesses should be seized and taken by the government and used to invest in energy alternatives, as well as retraining any worker wishing to leave the arms industry. We need to put pressure on arms companies to stop these kind of sales. Any illegal activity should be prosecuted and companies fined. Write in and call live shows on big media to ask why Yemen is hardly being mentioned compared to Syria. As democracies, the responsibility lies with us to hold our governments to account and speak to those who would face death to do so in their menacing Western-backed countries.